You mount the gun. It catches your jacket halfway up. You fight it free, jam it into your shoulder, and by the time your cheek finds the comb, the bird is already 10 yards past where you planned to break it. You rush the shot. Behind, clean miss. You assume you were slow. You assume your reactions are fading. You assume this is just what shooting after 50 feels like. But the problem was not your speed. The problem happened before the bird ever left the trap house. Your gun does not fit you anymore. It fit you at 35. It does not fit you now. And the single adjustment that would bring it back, the one that costs nothing, requires no gunsmith, and takes less than 10 minutes, is sitting unused in a plastic bag inside your gun case. This is the stock adjustment almost every over-50 shooter overlooks, and fixing it can add more targets to your card than another 6 months of practice. Before starting, please subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. The fit you had versus the fit you have now. When you bought your shotgun, maybe 10 years ago, maybe 20, it probably felt good in the shop. You mounted it a few times. The bead sat right. The length felt natural. You bought it and never thought about fit again. But here is the problem. Your body has changed since that day. Your shoulders are slightly less flexible. Your neck does not stretch the way it used to. You might carry a little more weight across your chest. You might wear a thicker shooting vest now. Every one of those changes shifts the relationship between your eye and the rib. And the gun, the same gun you have trusted for years, is still set to the body you had when you bought it. Most shooters never adjust their stock, not because they are lazy, because they do not know they can. The idea that a stock can be adjusted feels like a gunsmith job. Expensive, permanent, intimidating. So they live with a gun that does not quite fit, and they blame the misses on their age. The truth is that many modern shotguns, Beretta, Browning, and others, come with everything you need to adjust the stock already in the box. Shims, spacers. A single screwdriver is often the only tool required. The parts are free. The knowledge is what most shooters are missing. The adjustment. Length of pull. Of all the stock adjustments you can make, one matters most for shooters over 50. Length of pull. Length of pull, or LOP, is the distance from the trigger to the center of the butt pad. It determines whether the gun comes to your face smoothly or fights you on the way up. Factory shotguns are typically built with a length of pull around 14.5 inches. That is designed for an average-sized shooter in a light shirt. If you are shorter than average, heavier than average, older than average, or wearing a thick vest, that 14.5 inches is almost certainly too long. A length of pull that is too long does 3 things every single time. First, it catches on your clothing during the mount. The butt snags your vest or jacket, and the mount becomes a 2-step fight instead of one smooth motion. Second, it pushes your front hand too far forward, which makes the gun feel heavier and slower to swing. Third, and most important, it tilts your head forward to reach the comb. That tilt changes the angle of your eye above the rib. A 1/4 inch change in head position moves your point of impact by several inches at 25 yards. You're aiming with your eyes, but pointing with a gun that is set for someone else's body. The fix is often as simple as removing a spacer. Many shotguns come with 1 or more plastic spacers between the stock and the recoil pad. Each spacer adds about a 1/4 inch to the length of pull. Removing one takes 5 minutes with a screwdriver. You unscrew the pad, lift out the spacer, screw the pad back on. That is the whole job. Even if your gun has no spacers, you still have options that cost nothing. The thick recoil pad on most factory guns can be swapped for a thinner one, and many shooters have an old pad lying around already. The difference between a 1-inch pad and a 1/2 inch pad is 1/2 inch of length of pull. That 1/2 inch can be the difference between a gun that fights you and a gun that disappears into your shoulder. The simple test you can do right now. Here is how to check if your length of pull is wrong. Pick up your unloaded gun, stand in front of a mirror, mount the gun with your eyes closed. Do not force it. Just mount it the way your body naturally wants to. Open your eyes. Look at your trigger hand. Your trigger finger should rest comfortably on the trigger with a natural bend. If your finger is stretched straight to reach the trigger, the stock is too long. If your thumb is nearly touching your nose, the stock is too short. On a properly fitted gun, there should be roughly 2 finger widths of space between your nose and the thumb knuckle. Now look at your front hand on the forend. If your arm is nearly straight, the stock is too long. Your front hand is being pushed too far forward to control the gun smoothly. Your front elbow should have a comfortable bend, roughly the same angle you would use to carry a shopping bag by your side. Finally, mount the gun again, but this time deliberately. Bring it up from the ready position. Does the butt pad catch your clothing on the way up? Do you have to tug it free? If the answer is yes, your length of pull is too long. A correctly fitted gun mounts in one smooth motion. The butt finds the pocket without snagging. The elbow test is perhaps the oldest and simplest check. Place the butt of the unloaded gun in the crook of your elbow. Reach your trigger finger forward. If the first joint of your finger sits naturally on the trigger, the length of pull is close to correct. If you cannot reach the trigger at all, the stock is too long. If your finger curls well past it, the stock is too short. This test is rough, not scientific, but it has been used by shooters for generations because it works. The free bonus: cast and drop shims. Once you have fixed your length of pull, there is a second free adjustment hiding in your gun case. Most Beretta, Browning, and other quality semi-autos ship with a small set of plastic shims. These shims sit between the stock and the receiver. They adjust 2 things: cast, which is how far the stock bends left or right, and drop, which is how high or low the comb sits relative to the rib. Most shooters never touch these shims. The gun leaves the factory with a neutral shim installed, and that is where it stays forever. But cast and drop are deeply personal. A shooter with a wider face needs more cast. A shooter with a longer neck needs less drop, so the eye sits higher above the rib. A shooter with a shorter neck needs more drop, so the eye comes down to the bead. After 50, your neck and shoulder flexibility change. The position your head naturally takes on the stock is not the position it took 20 years ago. The factory shim that was close enough in 2005 may now be pushing your eye a 1/4 inch too high or too low. That 1/4 inch is the difference between a smoked clay and a clean miss. Changing a shim takes about 10 minutes. You remove the stock nut, slide out the old shim, slide in the new one, and tighten the nut. The shims are marked with numbers and letters that tell you exactly how much cast and drop each one provides. Your gun's manual explains which shim does what. No gunsmith, no cost, just a screwdriver and 10 minutes. Why this matters now, not later. The hard truth is that most shooters will spend hundreds on shells, lessons, and practice targets trying to fix misses that are actually a gun fit problem. They will blame their eyes, their reactions, their age. They will never once consider that the gun simply does not fit the body that is holding it. If your gun fit you at 35 and you are now 55 or 60, it almost certainly needs adjustment. Not because the gun changed, because you did. And that is not a weakness. It is simply a fact. The fix is free, fast, and waiting for you. The only thing standing between you and a gun that fits is a screwdriver and the willingness to try. Your challenge this week is the mirror test. Mount your gun with your eyes closed. Open them. Check your trigger finger. Check your front arm. If the signs point to a stock that is too long, take out a spacer and try 1 round without it. The difference will surprise you. If this gave you a free fix you can try today, hit like and subscribe. Check your fit, trust the process, and I will see you in the next one.